Unsurprisingly, the man who dresses like a bat has come face to face with vampires on numerous occasions. In fact, one of Batman's very earliest villains, the red-garbed Mad Monk, was a vampire. The Mad Monk went on to become a semi-recurring villain, reappearing every 30 years or so. Then of course we have Nocturna, a femme fatale vampire who occasionally shows up to try and seduce Batman over to the dark side. Batman has even faced Dracula himself, and more than once. The two most notable times being in the graphic novel Red Rain and in the animated movie The Batman vs. Dracula. Unfortunately, we're not here to talk about any of that. Instead, we're here to talk about a vampire Batman met that no one remembers. We're going all the way back to the groovy year of 1975, the time of Hammer horror films, and Detective Comics issue number 455, in which Batman met a cheap Christopher Lee Dracula knockoff named Gustav DeCobra. The tale was titled Heart of a Vampire and featured the inspired writing talent of Elliot Maggin and the magical pencils of Mike Grell. So in the story, Bruce Wayne and his manservant Alfred Pennyworth are driving outside of Gotham City when their car suddenly breaks down. Luckily, or unluckily I suppose, they happen to break down right outside a large eerie-looking Gothic mansion. They then decide to go to this mansion and try to get some water to cool down their engine with. Bruce thus just straight up breaks into the house, breaking down the door with his shoulder. Like, he doesn't even think twice about it. Alfred even asks if it's really okay to do that, but Bruce just goes for it. And this is the first action of our hero in this story, ladies and gentlemen. So once inside the creepy mansion, the two burglars immediately spot a coffin in the middle of the first room. A coffin with a sun lamp directed at it like a spotlight. Bruce is for some reason fascinated with this lamp, not the coffin, and goes up to investigate it. Clumsy moron that Bruce Wayne is, his careless fiddling causes the lamp to break. Turns out that Bruce has now unleashed the evil that is vampire Gustav DeCobra, who lay dormant inside the coffin. The sun lamp was acting as a safety precaution, keeping the Cobra trapped inside the coffin. Great job, Bruce. The vampire then approached Bruce, who quickly dons his Batman costume and violently lunges at him. Like, he didn't even really do anything except say, "Hi, I'm a vampire." And Bruce is the one who broke into his house, so who's really in the wrong here? Anyway, Batman and not Dracula fight each other, and Batman shoves a stake into where his heart is supposed to be. But turns out this vampire has his heart stashed somewhere else, knowing it's his weak point. Batman then runs away like a little bitch and flees to the attic with his manservant. There they spend some time chilling out, when Bruce suddenly remembers he knows who Gustav DeCobra is. He then proceeds to explain it in lengthy exposition to Alfred. Apparently DeCobra was a controversial doctor 100 years ago who tried to perform the world's first heart transplants. This led to him being kicked out of medical school, which forced him to resort to digging up graves Dr. Frankenstein style, using corpses to continue his experiments. And then it gets pretty vague. One day he apparently picked the wrong grave to mess with, as it happened to belong to a gang of vampires. The Cobra was presumably turned into a vampire himself at this point. What happened after that, we don't know. I guess there was no time to explain how the Cobra ended up in that house, in the coffin with the sun lamp trap. Anyway, Batman then figures out how to defeat the vampire. He's gonna fight him long enough to make the Cobra's heart beat fast and loud, so that Batman can pinpoint its location and pierce it. So Batman can hear heartbeats now? Well, turns out Batman's plan works, and the heart was placed in an old grandfather's clock. Batman then produces a bow and arrow out of nowhere and shoots the arrow through the clock, thus piercing the hideous vampire's heart, killing him. Bruce and Alfred then drive away, their car apparently working now. The end. That's it. No time for contemplation or explanations or anything. Batman's gotta get back to Gotham real fast, I guess. So basically, in this story, Batman's car breaks down outside Dracula's house by complete random accident. Batman then breaks into the house, accidentally awakens Dracula, attacks him unprovoked, runs around in the house for a bit with enough time to remember he somehow knows this guy's history like it's common knowledge, figures out a way to kill him, kills him, and then just casually leaves. In the next issue, he just goes on to fight some woman named Angie Larner and doesn't even reflect on the fact he just faced, fought, and defeated a freaking vampire, a genuine undead creature of the night. Oh well, it was the 70s, whatever, don't ask any questions, just move on to the next thing. So I think we can all agree that this is one of the dumbest Batman stories ever written. It was clearly just made so that Mike Grell could draw some cool pictures of Batman fighting Christopher Lee's Dracula. And they could finally do stuff like that again, as the Comics Code Authority had just recently loosened their rules concerning what kind of horror content you could depict in a comic book. While I do enjoy the cool artwork, I do find it amusing that this moronic plot is the best I could pair it up with. I don't think Elliot Magan even thought twice here. He just spewed something out real fast all over his typewriter and collected a paycheck. Well, whatever, who cares? It's an obscure comic issue from 1975. Gather around and laugh at it. And once again, have a happy Halloween, kiddies.